Hey, what's up? Welcome back to Leaderboard Esports. I'm Judy Jetset.
And I'm Jimmy Jimbasco.
And we're here on Hero Select to talk about awesome players doing awesome things. So I took the stage last time. We talked about League of Legends, we talked about High. So I'm giving you the floor today.
Oh, thank you.
Who is our awesome player for today?
Today's awesome player comes from the New York Excelsior, their Overwatch League team. He plays as a DPS and his name is Libero. And you may not have heard of him because he has to go up against the likes of Big Boss Pine and Seibert, that godly tracer that everybody knows. And he kind of falls through the cracks, but he, I think, solely is responsible for making the NYXL work. And I think it's because he's so versatile of a hero, a player rather, that can play so many of these heroes at the highest caliber.
He's a hero IRL too.
Yeah, honestly, Libero, dude, without him, Seibert, would not be able to just focus on playing Tracer. And Pine, the residual effect we're just kind of seeing, we're not seeing Pine as much in Stage 2.
Right.
Because Libero just brings all of his heroes at the same time.
Right. I remember that being a point of contention last split, or last stage, where one of the things we talked about was that they didn't put Pine in when we felt they should have put Pine in.
Yeah.
And then New York Excelsior ended up losing to London. But this time they ended up taking it all the way with Libero in there.
Yeah, it was really nice because Libero actually, I feel like they didn't trust him for a lot of Stage 1 and some of the earlier parts from Overwatch League, and they would put Pine in. And Pine is really good at playing McCree, Widowmaker, hit scan heroes, but very specific ones. So you can't have him swapping off to a Pharah. You can't have him swapping off to a Genji at some point later in the game. The strength with Libero is you put him in and you run a Pharah. You run a projectile hero. He's very good at Genji, Pharah, etc., Junkrat. But then, say the enemy team starts running double hit scan and they start countering Pharah. The strength of Libero is you can keep Seibert on Tracer, keep hassling the enemy team with the best Tracer in the world, and have Libero swap onto every single DPS and have him play to the degree that these other specialists are playing at, while still maintaining that huge hero pool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you say that he is the best at any one specific champion? Or, sorry, hero?
I don't know. I think his strength, really, he's made it his crux to be extremely versatile and be that good at a lot of heroes. Like, he's really good on Genji. You could say that that's his best hero, but Pharah, definitely commendable. His Soldier 76, great. We saw him on Tracer sometimes while Seibert was on Widow, which is weird, but still works. They have faith in him, apparently, you know?
Okay. So basically, if I understand this correctly, what you're saying is that he's versatile, so he can play a variety of he can play a variety of heroes at a high caliber.
Yeah.
And he's still high enough. He's still good enough of a player to be competitive against other players who solo main those heroes.
Absolutely, and it's really rare to find someone that has those three skills, or values rather, inside of them, in their personality, in their beings. Because, you know, it's like, you see that meme, it's pick 2 out of the 3 and that's what you get. But no, with Libero, you get a person who's versatile, who can play as many heroes as you need him to, that can play him at the caliber that you would want them to, and that can mesh well in a team setting to really enable Seibert on that Tracer. Because without Libero, Seibert is nothing.
Okay, so is there anybody else that kind of even comes close to that in Overwatch League?
There's a couple, honestly. I want to say in like a positive way, like as positively in a way that you could put it, Taimu when he was on Envious, right? But Taimu now on the Dallas field is struggling a little bit because his role before used to be something, or rather somewhat of what Pine plays. He's like that specialist on Widow, and he was world renowned. He was the best in Korea on that Widow. And now he's here, he doesn't have that structured, let me play around Taimu mentality, because he used to call all the shots even though he was on DPS, which is weird. Most of the time it's the support, like the Lucio or the Ana, sitting in the back, like taking their time to really, you know, view what's happening in the game.
Right.
Taimu, his team is not playing all centered around him. They even had him on main tank, which is
that's very far from DPS.
like,
even I knew
hello?
that. I could never play a tank. No way.
And it showed in their performance. Dallas Fuel did extremely poorly then. But it's in that same sense, if they were to play around Taimu, he may have had success. In another vein, you could look at, say, AKM. He's a very, very, very strong hit scan player that plays on Soldier 76, McCree, and he suffers from not being versatile enough, honestly. And a lot of people do, because you can be that specialist, you can be extremely good, you can get into Overwatch League based on your merit. Someone was saying once that Raksu, he's a he's a famous
Overwatch
yeah, in
terms,
Overwatch
right?
On Twitch, he streams a lot of Hanzo, and Siegel was caught saying once that, yeah, Raksu, or some pro, I don't want to say it's Siegel specifically, but some pro was saying Raksu could get on an Overwatch League team based on his Hanzo ability alone.
That's so wild to me.
He's a really good Hanzo, but obviously you need to bring way more than just one hero. You can't just be Big Boss Pine, which somehow he manages to be still.
Right, and so that's really interesting that that quality in particular, that you can't just be one, you just can't be a god at one champion or one hero. That translates into League in a way that's actually really salient, right? Because there are very few truly prolific like League players. And so when you're talking about it, it's really, I can draw parallels to, like, for example, when you were talking about AKM and his lack of versatility, I think of CLG Huhi, right? He is an amazing Aurelion Soul player. He can play that champion with his eyes closed. I remember we actually went to the Fan Fest here at MSG like a couple months back, and they actually set up the CLG players to play 1v1s against randomly drawn crowd members. And so Huhi sat at his desk, opened up his notepad and said, "Who do I play?" and like typed it so that the people could see it.
On stream?
Yeah. And then everyone, like in the crowd and the audience and people on stream were like, "Play ASOL, play ASOL." And he's like, "You guys really want me to play ASOL? Okay, fine." And so he locked in ASOL, played him like AD attack speed, like it made no sense. It had nothing to do with, and I still beat the person,
What?
that he was against. Well, because it was a 1v1, right?
Yeah.
Like if you actually dissect it,
Right.
it would have made sense for the matchup. But like to have that kind of mastery of that champion is kind of unreal.
Yeah.
And it almost, sorry to get on a tangent, but it actually brings me back to when we were talking about what it takes to go pro, right? And we talked about that time sink, and we talked about, you know, stuff falls by the wayside.
Yeah.
And if you want to even get narrower, what you main has to be a very decisive pick as well, right? So you think about the Pines, the AKMs, the time moves, right? They decided, I'm gonna be a hit scan main, I'm gonna be a Widow main, you know? And so I remember you were streaming earlier and you said, like, I do some things more than other things, and so the other things are not as good. And so these guys just never got a chance to really broaden their mastery in the time it took for them to go pro.
And I guess that's like kind of like the whole debacle that the Overwatch League is facing, because a lot of these players are being exposed to huge spotlight in a way that they've never been exposed to before, and we're seeing it pan out in so many different ways.
Interesting, yeah, because not only are you talking about the mental fortitude, but you're also kind of exposing the breadth of their skill, right? So back to Huhi, when they finally found out that he was really good at the specific champion that no one else really cared about, they just started banning it, and then Huhi got super exposed. Eventually, his you know, experience and his knowledge kind of widened, and he could play other champs to pretty good effect. But I don't know, I think that the person that we have to talk about is probably Bjergsen.
Can't go in a conversation about League without talking about Bjergsen.
It's unfortunate. I don't want to talk about Bjergsen anymore. He does everything well. He does everything well. He's probably the closest thing that NA has to the ideal League of Legends player, due primarily to his versatility. He was known as a really aggressive assassin player. He was known for his Zed. He has an amazing burst style in Syndra. And then he sustained wrist injuries, fell back, became amazing at, you know, supporty champions like Lulu and Orianna, where he would let other people kind of take the forefront damaging role and play more of a utility style, which it kind of reminded me of what you said earlier about Libero. So, even after that, the meta shifted such that kind of people started playing like champions like Galio mid, believe it or not. Okay, yeah, he doesn't understand the Galio mid.
I came in a very weird point at least.
Yeah, Hit me in the comments if you know what it's like being against Galio in the mid lane, because it's torture. All right, and Bjergsen knew that firsthand because he took that to somewhere. Where was that? Was that Worlds MSI? Yeah, he took it to like MSI and got his butt handed to him on a silver platter. Like, you don't, boy, go back to practice mode, okay?
Go back to the ladder.
He took it, yeah, literally, like, go back to bronze because you don't know what you're doing. And then he went and said, okay, while you guys are streaming, I studied the blade. Okay, and I studied the wing, and he came back in and became a masterful Galio, and like that sort of thing you don't see often, right? And it's a combination of taking your career seriously and the game seriously, and dedicating the time and energy you need to really becoming prolific at multiple things.
Absolutely, and we see, like, it's not common that you catch all these values and these characteristics in a single player, but when you do, you tend to remember the names, and even more when you think of it like Faker. Like,
everybody knows Faker.
Everybody knows
Faker. And everybody knows what Faker does to you. Like, and like, so that's one thing that I'm never gonna understand, right? At least with Bjergsen, the occasional times he streams and, like, you know, a lot of his media exposure, you see that he's actively trying. They did TSM Legends, right? Which is a reality TV show. You got insight into this guy's life. Faker is enshrouded in this mystery that really adds to the mystique that he was, like, born amazing
born
at
League
of Legends.
Yeah.
Like, literally. And so I don't know how much Libero has been under the spotlight, but do you think Flower is gonna be the next dude?
Ooh,
because I've seen some of his highlights, and like, you know, I don't want to get all excited, but he's on XL2 now, so I'm pretty excited.
New York Excelsior was so excited about this kid that they signed him, I want to say, over 6 months ago at this point. And they just put him on the Contenders team. He was just in limbo for that long.
Right, because he couldn't legally play before then.
Yeah, he couldn't. He was 17, still, you know,
they straight up sniped him.
Yeah, they literally just, they're like, no.
Yeah.
No one else.
Exactly.
This is mine. I'm going to hold this kid for 6 months, wait till he's ready and legal, then put him on a Contenders team. And our Contenders team, I don't know if you've seen it, is ridiculous. So good luck, Contender squads. But Flower, he has the potential to pop off. It's rough because there's this time now. There's this gap of 6-7 months that we haven't seen him play. So it's like, what's been happening? I want to know so bad. And Libero, the interesting thing, the fascinating thing with Libero is he was only on one team before this, Meta Athena. And he was on that team for a good amount of time. And they had success, but he wasn't a star player by any means. Libero kind of just emerged from the Korean scene. And then here he is on the world stage, wrecking it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. That kind of reminds me a little bit of Pole Belter then. I know I'm kind of going back and forth because he has this sort of, he feels so consistently above average. You know what I mean? Like, he only, in my opinion, all right, in my personal opinion, he shifts between being able to hold his own against the Masters and, like, godlike. You know what I mean? Like, he goes between, his stats don't reflect what his mastery is about, and that almost makes it more kind of mystical for me, right? Because he is just such a powerhouse and is known for such amazing things, and in that moment, surrounded by gods, for example, on Immortals, he was able to kind of hold his own, occasionally pop off, but most of the time handle the mid lane while Huni and Reignover were being feast or famine up top, while we had a new bot lane in the, you know, in Cody's son and I want to say Adrian or Ole, I don't remember. But they, in this kind of sea of craziness, he was there stalwart, doing his thing, sometimes, you know, getting one up on the opponent mid laner, usually, you know, not dying, not really doing too much, and like playing the Rise that teleported the Huni into like everybody so that he could get that only calling and kill 5 people. You know what I mean? So that's, you know, the mastery is both in being able to pop off and also being able to enable the pop off from somebody else.
Absolutely, and I think like Libero, while he does pop off occasionally, a good amount if you watch those stage 2 finals. Like, that was kind of ridiculous.
So tense, dude.
Too tense. We were down 2 maps to the Fusion. What?
To the Fusion.
To the Fusion.
I don't know if you guys remember the brackets yesterday. Last time we got together,
Gone.
I was like, I straight up went back and watched that video, and I literally said, "The Fusion, who are they?" And I saw that on Sunday night, and I was like,
No.
Judy, no. What have you done? Judy, you could not be more wrong.
But dude, Libero, so he can pop off. He can have those moments on Widow and Genji. But he's also consistent, and he's consistent enough. Like, he's so consistent, so trustworthy of a player. They can really put their entire trust into this guy to do the damage on a consistent basis that Seibert literally only plays Tracer. And maybe he'll play Widow, but we saw that didn't go out well, so I don't think he's going to be going Widow anytime soon. But he only plays Tracer. And as a coach, Wizard Young, to have seen that and made that connection there that, okay, this guy's good on everything. Seibert will be good on just one person, combined, boom.
That's amazing. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that Libero is a hero because he is the bedrock of damage that NYXL needs to kind of build off of.
Yeah.
That's
like
so
all of
interesting.
New York is built on. Oh my God.
Oh man.
There's deeper implications.
He's more of a native New Yorker than a lot of people who are here.
Dude, I remember at the beginning of the Overwatch League season, a lot of people were like, NYXL is going to be so distant and like foreign because they're Korean. Dude, we have like the most likable people.
I agree. I definitely agree.
We got ARC, SBB, all nice people.
Well, they picked the best city to be a part of, let's be honest. Come on now.
Yeah.
So the moral of the story is, let's go New York. So what do you think? Do you like maining one hero, or do you like being versatile? And let us know who you want to see for next week's Hero Select. That's all for us for today. I'm Judy Jetset.
And I'm Jim Basco. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and hit the bell icon in the top right corner to become part of our notification squad to find out when we upload our videos. It's pretty frequently nowadays, so you're going to want to tune in and watch those. That's all for Leaderboard Esports today.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching.